Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to session two of Patchamomma. I'm so excited to see all your engagement in LinkedIn and also in our community chat Discord channel. You've been raising questions. You've been asking, um, s- questions of clarification, clarifying questions, and some confirming that you've completed all the labs. So, absolutely thrilled to see all of those things. So, thanks for all the action. Thanks for all the enthusiasm, the engagement, and so much that you've been doing in the learning phase. This is exactly how I envisioned and how we all wanted to have it. This is no other way. This is the way we want it. I understand some of you had issues claiming the skills lab credits. So I'd sent out the first link, the same link one more time in email yesterday and today. So I hope a lot of you who were not able to previously access it were able to space it out and retry and were able to sign up for skills.labs credits. And I hope if you didn't do that, at least go to Google Developer Program, sign up, and then activate your gear program by signing up for gear and choose the no cost option from the three options that are available and sign up with your details, give accurate details, and don't try to access multiple email IDs with your same device. It will not accept because it will verify all that. And also another thing is, if none of it is working, try signing out entirely and then incognito. That's another way. So this approach will give you 35 credits on a monthly basis. It'll keep topping up, not topping up, but it'll keep replenishing. Like it'll give you 35 credits every month. However, I also created instant credits, which you can use on one time, meaning one time in the sense you can redeem that one time, but you can use it for as long as your credits last. So even for today's session, the first lab that we are all going to do, or at least I'm going to walk you through and demonstrate, is going to be a no cost lab. So you should not be using up any of your credits. Even after that, you can try it. Even if you're not able to complete the lab during the session, that's fine. Don't The no cost lab is fine, but any lab that costs one credit also, do not do it during the session, because a lot of us are trying and it is trying to spin up Google Cloud instances for a specific region for a specific time. So if thousands and thousands of developers are trying a lab that costs something and then are trying to activate at the same time, sometimes it will show that performance delay in terms of the number of the steps that you're executing. So maybe there is a lag and maybe you're impacted by that. And what happens ends up happening is you will lose the credit and you would not have completed the lab. So again, you will have to use another credit to get started with the lab. So I would say the no cost lab you can try as many times as you want, which is the first lab that we are going to do today. So just as a general advisory, I would ask all of you to try the labs that require minimum credits, at least one credit. Try it at your own pace after the session is complete. Right? During the session, just try to retry and other things only for the no cost lab. Yeah, no cost lab, you can retry as many times as you want. This was the first thing which I wanted to say. And second thing, don't be discouraged if you're not able to, like sometimes the specific region is taxed too much because multiple developers are trying and multiple accounts are trying at the same time. But if that is the case, if there is any such instance, I recommend going through the steps. Use your own Google Cloud project outside of it, because this is still trial credits, right? This is still trial instances, so it doesn't have the high reputation. So obviously, you will see some discrepancies and the ups and downs in the platform. But that's fine. But if you have your own Google Cloud project, if you have the sign up credits, you can also try that out at your own time. Even otherwise, it's okay for you to learn and know for the time that you get to the build phase, which is when you will have to actually build. Until then, just learn, make sure where things are, just learn, play around. It's not important for you to complete and get the completion email. That's not what we are driving here. It's important for you to get hands on, know where Cloud SQL is, how to set up instance, where BigQuery is, understand why BigQuery is used, why Cloud SQL is used, why AlloyDB, and then understand the basic concepts and how to find that and how to use that, how to set it up, and just get that thing. The goal here is not for you to like complete and get the email. The goal for you is here is to truly immerse in the learning, understand and complete it. The quiz will be sent at the end of the 5 sessions, and the quiz is not going to ask you to upload your email completions screenshot or anything. It will be completely based on the knowledge that you gain from these 5 sessions, which is before your build phase. So don't worry about it. Another thing in the chat, people are trying to send screenshots. Another thing, I have enabled it now. Previously, it was disabled for safety concerns and privacy concerns. We didn't want any accidental. Not that any of you have any malicious, but accidentally, we don't want something to be sent out, right? So that's exactly why I request. Initially, I designed it in a way that we are not able to send images, but now I have relaxed it a little bit. At least during the session days and the days after, you will be able to send screenshots if you have questions, so that we can all interact. All right. So thank you so much. Keep them coming. Keep your enthusiasm going. One other thing I want to request, please show thumbs up or something if you're able to hear me. Okay, because we are about to start the session, or just say in the chat that you're able to hear me. All right. Awesome. Or you can also like the video. Cool. Thank you so much. So let me just share my screen. Perfect. The first lab for today. So what we discussed in the first session, that is on Monday, 27th July, is we did data applications. And we looked at databases, we looked at analytics, the data warehouse aspect. We looked at how to get public data sets so that when you are building on your own time or you're prototyping something, you know where to fetch the data. We set up data sets, we set up database with Cloud SQL, we set up tables, ingested data, we ran some queries, we identified how to store unstructured objects in Google Cloud Storage buckets. We identified how to use Cloud Shell terminal commands. We also looked at Cloud Shell. One thing I missed to tell you what Cloud Shell is for those folks who don't, who have not used Google Cloud previously. We did walk through the Cloud Shell terminal and commands, but I didn't explain the editor aspect of it because we didn't have the programming, the application development in the first session, so we didn't go through it. We will do that tomorrow. In not tomorrow, in the next session, on the session after that. However, I just want to give a one liner. So Cloud Shell machine gets allocated the moment you create a Google Cloud project. The moment you are inside console.cloud.google.com through using your Gmail account or using your email, and then you have your project created. So the moment you do that, you have Cloud Shell machine allocated. So what it means is that you get two things. You get editor and terminal. Editor is a place where you can build applications, write code, full stack applications, whatever, but it comes with 5 gig memory. That's it. Like you can't have uh, giant applications, several applications, tens of hundreds of applications running. Of course you will not want that too. It's like a scrap pad. You build something really quickly, you push it to your GitHub, and then you delete it, and then you use it for instant building, right? So Cloud Shell editor is available for you, and the Cloud Shell terminal, which is the command line aspect of it, which allows you to interact with commands um, across all Google Cloud services, whether BigQuery or it's Cloud SQL. If you remember, we created the database in Cloud SQL using Cloud Shell command. If you remember, we did a gcloud create table, create database command in Cloud SQL. We didn't go and create it physically from the console, if you remember that from session one. So anyway, I just wanted to plug that in because I missed to explain the difference between editor and terminal and the thing, even though we did discuss Cloud Shell terminal the first session. All right. So that's what we did in the first session. And second session, we are going one step further. I just wanted to get the insights and analytics aspects, the reporting aspects out of the way so that we can focus on building your agentic applications and other applications in the rest of the rest of the sessions that are lined up. So in today's session, we are going to look at insights which are critical because we are talking about data while we are still living in the data area, while we are still immersed in databases and data. Let's just get it over with. We'll also talk about the informative insights and dashboards and reports, how to create that with Data Studio, how are you going to integrate with data that you have in BigQuery. So I just wanted it to be a sequence. So let's do that today. That's session one. In session two, we'll be looking at something called as knowledge catalog. This is also another very interesting thing, which I recently spoke about in Code Vipassana season 15, I think, the most recent season. Turn your dark data into structured gold is the title of that session. So I demonstrated how to use knowledge catalog to bring unstructured data, several hundreds or thousands of them, although we did use like 200 PDFs or 400, I think, if I remember correctly. And then we transformed that into structured tables and rows in BigQuery dataset. How knowledge catalog is able to do the cataloging instantly and infer the semantic relationships. So that is another quick lab, that skills lab that we'll walk through. Again, this you will not start when I'm starting. You will just watch, listen, and you have the labs link. Keep it ready for when the session is over or later tomorrow because you have a good gap between today and the next session. So you can utilize that to complete all the three labs. The first lab is a no cost lab, so you can try it as we are speaking. Although no pressure, you can also do this one later. But if you want to, you can do this alongside as well because it's no cost. Even if you didn't finish, you can always start over. The next one is a you will use up 1 credit or so. So I would prefer not, or 5 credits, I think. 1 credit, sorry. I prefer for you to not lose it because if you're not able to finish it during the time and the time is up, you will lose that credit. So start it later. Once you start lab, you cannot stop it. So that's why I'm recommending not to start the second lab today. The third today, in the sense during the session, you can start it later. The third one is how to generate or create BigQuery agents in quick steps with the data that you already have. Since we already brought in the data, how to utilize that to build reports, dashboards, insights, catalog them, infer them, identify relationships, knowledge graphs between them, and finally how to build agents with them. So that is the scope for today's session. All right. That's why we call it advanced insights and analytics. All right, so let's get started with the first lab. You should have the lab's link in your email. If not, leads, if you're there, kindly take that link from the YouTube's description. Or you don't have to paste anything because it's there in YouTube's description where you are. Look at the description. The first lab, the link that ends in 090 629 090. Explore and create reports with Data Studio. Like I always say, go to incognito mode for the skills lab and make sure you're logged into the account where you have the 9 credits or 35 credits added, and this one is a no credit, no cost lab. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Just go into incognito and get started. All right. So explore and create reports with Data Studio. Data Studio is one of the reporting services in Google Cloud. It's pretty straightforward to get dashboards and insights built with Data Studio just by plugging in the data source that we have. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to quickly click the start button. You can feel free to join me, or you can do it later too if you are keen in listening. So while it's getting started, there we go. So it's asking me to open Google Cloud Console and it has loaded my credentials. So I'm going to use that. It is asking me to use a private browsing tab, which is what I'm using anyway. There we go. All right. So it is asking to agree the terms of service. Let me do that. All right. I can also use this side panel for tutorial. I'm going to use it for as long as it lasts. So the overview of this lab, Data Studio, because it turns your data into informative dashboards and reports that are easy to read, easy to share, and fully customizable, because you will want to be able to customize the views that your organization uses, whether it's you, your team, or the analytics team, or the sales team, or marketing team, or supply chain, or executives, people from the other org altogether, or people from your customers, segment, users, whoever it is that needs to use your applications, you should be able to quickly and easily share that if it applies to them, right? It allows you to tell great data stories to support your business decisions. Of course, that's why we all need dashboards. A dashboard speaks more than any of your sessions or your theoretical email write up or anything can do. So that's why dashboards are really critical even today. Yes, even today, even in the agentic world, dashboards say a lot, and that's why BigQuery and Data Studio and all of Google Cloud databases like AlloyDB are all agent first or insights first that way, so that it helps you to understand data from the perspective of ultimate business impact. So we already know what BigQuery is from session one. We've used it extensively there. We also know that it's fully managed, serverless, no ops, low cost analytics database or data warehouse, as if you'd like to call it that. You can query terabytes and terabytes of data without having any infrastructure to manage from your side because it's a serverless database. You don't need an administration layer altogether to just look at, set it up and everything, right? It uses SQL and it can take advantage of you can take advantage of the pay as you go model because it's serverless in nature. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. This data set uses e-commerce data set that has millions of Google Analytics. records for the Google Merchandise Store. It's very similar to the data set that we used previously. So we are on board with that. So we are in sync with the previous session. So it's not completely random. So you're aware of what a data set in Google Cloud is, sorry, in BigQuery is. You're all aware of how to use this publicly available data set. So we are going to use one such data set today, which has millions of Google Analytics records. So in this lab, what you'll learn to do, you will launch Data Studio, you will create and customize a report, and you'll create an interactive filter for your report. As simple as that. Click the next button, setup and requirements. We are already in the lab, so you can get past that. First task, launch Data Studio and create a blank report. So you have to launch Data Studio. You can either click this link directly or you can click the search button here and you can type Data Studio, two words. There we go. The first thing that says product, the first line item, click that. Sorry, not click that. I don't want a Data Studio Pro subscription. Why is it asking me? Okay, I'll close this. Okay, Data Studio. Okay, let's click from the lab itself so it doesn't get angry. All right, there we go. So I click this Data Studio link directly from the lab and it has opened it right here. All right. So this is what you should see. You should see it used to be called Looker Studio, but now these are two separate products. Looker is another service and Data Studio is a separate service. So that's why you will see Looker Studio here and there in the URLs, but don't mind that. It's actually Data Studio right now. So on the left side navigation pane, you should see the recent option, shared with me, trash, templates, conversational analytics options. And on the right hand side, you will see recent reports that you were dealing with. And then you'll also see create a report option and other things. All right. So now moving on. We have arrived at the Data Studio homepage. From the homepage, click the blank report template. So go here, click a blank report template. Click templates. Where's a blank report? Or get started. Create a report. Click create a report. There we go. So we have the data source options. Now go back to the lab and see what it says. It has to be logged in using the username and password. Is it logged in? It's logged in right here. I just want Data Studio. Okay. All right. So the few things that you won't be able to do in this free thing is team content management and advanced scheduling, which is okay. We are just trying to get the public data set. But anyway, let's try what is happening here. I'm actually connected from my personal account here, like the Gmail account, not with the student one, because it's loading Data Studio Pro by default. I still just want to use Data Studio, not the Data Studio Pro. So if it allows you to use Data Studio and not Pro, that's great. Try it out. It says that I don't have access to create Data Studio Pro, which is fine. I'm not trying to create Data Studio Pro. Yeah, that shouldn't stop us from using this bare minimum features. All right, going back to the lab, what else does it want us to do? Click blank report template and then select country, enter a company name, create the checkbox, everything, and then sign up for emails and click the blank report template again. And then you should be able to connect to data tab. We already have the data tab right here. So we'll start from this one. So you can actually add data right away from the untitled report here. All right. In the Google Connector section, select BigQuery. So what I have right here is Looker, Google Analytics, Ads, Sheets, BigQuery, CSV. I'm going to choose BigQuery. So I've chosen BigQuery right here. All right. And it will ask you to authorize. You will have to go ahead and authorize that because your user needs to be able to access this particular one. So you can also go with your actual Google Cloud, your personal Gmail account as well. If the Data Studio one actually prevents you from using the plain Data Studio as opposed to the Pro. Yeah. So feel free to follow what I'm doing. Or you can try it later as well. All right. So now I'm authorized to use my BigQuery data sources. All right. So now I've selected BigQuery and I've authorized. Perfect. For authorization, click authorize, which I've already done. This allows Data Studio to access our Google Cloud project. That's fine. And click on shared projects, project ID, which is there. I'll show you that. And then in the data set, uh, type data to insights, and then we can choose the e-commerce data set. Let's see if it's there. If not, I'll have to pull it from the public data set. So let's go right here, my projects. So my project is all here, Agentic Data Cloud. Okay. So for this user, this is my personal account. I don't have that project. If you're able to access it from the student lab itself, that's totally fine. You will be able to find the project. Just follow the instructions in the lab. But since I don't have it, I'm going to search in public data sets. So I'm going to search for e-commerce in the public data sets. Let's see when it loads. BigQuery public data. So there we go. And on the public data set, I'm going to search for e-commerce. So let's say I want to use, what data set are they asking us to use here? E-commerce sales report. So they would have loaded some data for you in the student project by default. But since I don't have it in my personal account, I'm going to create a different report, but that's totally fine. This is to experience how you can build propose and insights with Data Studio by using your data from BigQuery. All right. So I'm going to use another e-commerce data set, which is obfuscated sample e-commerce or the look e-commerce. Either way, I can use one of those. I'm choosing the look e-commerce. And then here we have all these tables, distribution centers, events, orders, order items, products, and users. So what report are we creating? A sales report. Let's see if I have anything close to that. Maybe I can choose orders, similar to sales report, right? So I'm choosing orders, or maybe, yeah, orders is fine, I guess. I'll use order and I'll add. All right. So now I've added this table to my report as a data set. You're about to add data to this report. Note that the report editors can create charts using the new data source and can add dimensions and metrics, which is fine. I want to add that to the report. There we go. So here we have all the data that is required. That is available. All the fields, the schema for the table, you can see right here. All these details that are there for this particular table, order table. So that I'm saying here. Added to report, I can create a chart, table chart, and I can use selected fields. Of course, since I'm using a different table, I won't have the same fields that the lab is instructing. So I'm going to choose fields of my own from this particular table. But if you're following the lab and you're able to launch Data Studio instead of Data Studio Pro, feel free to do that. I wasn't able to use Data Studio instead of Data Studio Pro. It prompted me to force me to use Data Studio Pro. I don't have credits for that from the student lab. So I'm using my personal Gmail account, which has no credits, but I'm using Data Studio from it, as you saw. And I'm connected to the Look e-commerce dataset. That is a public dataset in BigQuery, which you just saw. I've added the table, so you see all these list of items here. Now the next step is for us to create the chart. Click Add a Chart and select Table Chart. And under the Data field, click on Ratio, blah, blah. So we need to have those dimensions of your choice selected from the list of fields. And what else do we want to add? We want dimensions, we want filters, we want numeric data. So we'll have to identify all those things and get it populated here. All right. Once again, let me zoom my screen in at 80%. So you all can see. Makes no difference. Okay. All right. So let's create a chart here. From the top, we can use add a chart. Click that add a chart button, and I'm going to add a table. So if you can find that in the menu, the object menu bar right here, right below the main menu, you'll see the objects that are available for you. So there is a add a chart. There's an add a chart button. It looks like a button with a drop down. So click that, and it will show you all the different kinds of charts that are available. I'm choosing the table with no, just plain table. So I'm choosing a table chart. There we go. So, what do we want to see? We want to see mm, who ordered what, or at least what do we want to see? We can just say delivered at status, order ID, maybe. And status is already there. What else do we want? What metric do we want to add? Number of items. Right, ma'am, number of items is still. What metric do we want to add? Instead of order ID, let's just see delivered at. I don't know what delivered at is what time, I think, right? Yeah, it's a date, calendar date field, I think. So for a specific day, for a specific status, number of items, let's see order ID count, record count of order ID. Yeah. So let's just do that. Anything else we want to fill? Anything else we want to check here? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, insufficient permissions. What? Why? I authorized it anyway. Hmm. Okay, let me start over. It says I don't have permission. Let me start over the same use case here so that we are not, at least you can see what's possible with Data Studio. Okay, here I am with Data Studio. What? Interesting. Okay. All right, something has changed, but let's continue to use the one that we are already building. If this data set is not available, let's try another one, add data. Let's see what data is available for us to use. BigQuery, let's see if I have any data in this instance, Froyo data. Oop, I opened BigQuery accidentally. Okay, we have, let's say, Froyo data, and I have allergen table, or rather Froyo data materialized. Okay, so I'm going to add it. Okay, add to report. All right, there we go. Sufficient permission. So let's see what happens here. I've added new data set. Let me remove the old one so that it doesn't give us the same error message again. A new page. Data is already added, but let me give new data again. BigQuery, my projects, agent data cloud, Froyo data, Froyo data materialized. Add to report. There we go. Right. So let's just start with simple allergen name and ingredient. Where's ingredient? Ingredient name. What else do we want? product name, maybe product name. So for a given product, let's see how many allergens it has. So for that, we need to remove this, and then I'll put this allergen name here in metric, and I'll add a count on it, count distinct. Okay, so there we go. This is the basic report that I wanted to do, as you can see right here. All right. So there we go. That's it. That's as simple as getting the basic bare minimum records from your table, connecting your BigQuery table sourced from your BigQuery to directly to your Data Studio report. So what I've done right here is, remember, I don't know if some of you may have participated in Code Vipassana season 15, but we did a whole frozen yogurt e-commerce data, not e-commerce, but frozen yogurt data set. So we had about 400 PDF files, which we transformed into structured tables, and the structured tables had data of products, various frozen yogurt products, and the corresponding ingredients and their allergens. So the goal of that was to identify which product has so and so allergen, or a specific product has a specific allergen or not. So questions like that we use the data set for. So in case you don't know, that's just a little background about this data set. So this data set was already there in my BigQuery user account. So in my project, in my data set, this is using my personal Gmail account, because the student account that it had opened up Data Studio Pro. Something has changed in the last couple of, I don't know, few hours or few like over less than 48 hours, as I can see, because ideally it should open Data Studio and not the Pro, which is still a free version. You can use it even without minimum billing account, right? You can use it to get your to be able to connect to the data set and query. So I was not able to connect to the public data set, but I did create another data set previously in my BigQuery, which was already there. You can also do that. Go to your personal Gmail account, just do console.cloud.google.com. I'll show you right here. Go to console.cloud.google.com and make sure you create a project by clicking the project picker, create new project if you don't have any project, and then provide a project name. Don't choose any other values. Don't choose any billing account. Just say create. That's it. Once you create that, your project name will appear here like it appears here for me, or pick the project that you want to work on. Then go to BigQuery just to test the data set out. Go to BigQuery and create a table from BigQuery, create a data set. If nothing is already there, you can query public data set, but you can also create a data set. So create data set. It's a very simple step. So put a data set ID, say ecom test or something like that. Hyphen is not allowed, so give underscore. And then data location, say in this case, I want to choose US Central 1, and then that's it. I'll create this data set. Now in this ecom test, find this in the go to data, click go to data set button, go right here and choose the query mode. Yeah. And then say create table, and then create a random table like e-commerce test or something, and then provide some rows and some columns, sorry, not rows, provide some columns and create a random test data, or you can just populate a few records from public data set. You can populate it and have your table and data. That's it. Once you create this, you open Data Studio just like we opened right now, and you should be able to click connect data source or add data source, and you should be able to select your project ID, authorize, and see your data set from here. But that's not the only data source. There are so many data sources that are available. If you want to see all the data sources, click add data again. It will open up that add data panel. So just for your uh, reference here, see how many data sources connectors are available. You can connect directly to Looker. You can connect to Google Analytics data. So basically, I can plug in my YouTube Analytics and all the things that are using Google Analytics. I can plug it in directly to do reporting here if I would like that, if I authorize it to do that. Google Ads data, Google Sheets, connecting to BigQuery, which is what we did right now. When you click that, it'll ask you to select the data set, select the table, and it'll ask you, oh, you would probably not have seen my other window when I was showing the report, right? Or you did, I don't know. I hope you were able to see my screen thoroughly. I didn't show anything that is not here, not visible here. So I hope you were able to see the Froyo data set. I hope you were able to see the report that I'm highlighting right here, because this whole window is shared in the screen share mode. So I hope you were able to see all of this. And I hope you were able to see the product name and allergen name listed. And then what I did is I clicked add data. and I am trying to show you the list of data sources that are available, and I'm just explaining that we connected to BigQuery data source. And then we did the app sheet. We didn't do app sheet, but it's there if you want to use. CSV file upload, if you want to just have visualization or advanced insights for your CSV data, you can directly upload. Same with Microsoft Excel. Amazon Redshift data can be directly plugged in. Apigee can be plugged in for analytics and monetization of, analytics and monetization data can be plugged in into Data Studio. Campaign Manager, Cloud Spanner, Cloud SQL, which is Google Cloud's database, Display and Video 360, Ad Mesh, so many data sources, Google Cloud Storage, Microsoft SQL Server, so many things, PostgreSQL, all of these data sources are available for you to plug in directly and authorize and generate visualization. Not just visualization, it's a lot more than that. You can actually use all of these data semantic layer definition, uh, definition properties and other things for you to manipulate the resource that you want to manipulate, the insights and analytics dashboard that you want to create. All right. You also have some sample data, population data, Olympics data. If you we could have just used that instead of spending time in creating a new data set. But if not, you can also always go to. Anyway, I showed you how to create a brand new project, how to go to search BigQuery, create a table, or directly go to Data Studio, use my data sources, take some of the sample data, and generate your report. That is also possible, right? So you saw how easy it is for us to even not write queries directly. Just I wanted to see the products and how many allergens this product has. Right? For example, let's say my customer is looking for golden caramel cloud, or say electric pomegranate tide. It has two allergens. So I have to inform your customer saying this product has two allergens. Maybe if you drill down deeper, you can add drill down layers, add a field, add a parameter further to say what allergens it has. And you can say this one has soy allergy. It has maybe something else. It has some add-on flavor that's probably allergic or something like that. So whatever it is. So that's the kind of insights and dashboards that you can create with Data Studio. This is just a flavor for what you can build when you have your own project and billing account when you're actually in the build phase. So I wanted to demonstrate because, of course, you can use the data that you have to build free dashboards without using the pro mode. There's only a few things that you cannot do with the free mode. So please check the difference and try to use it. However, if this lab prompts you to use pro and you're not able to proceed with the lab, it's fine. Don't worry. Do what I recommended you to do with outside the lab. It's okay if you didn't complete this lab. The goal is not for you to get the completion email or for it to 100, say score is 100%. The goal for you is to completely understand what is Data Studio, how to, what are the data sources that are available for me to directly plug and play. How can I bring my data set and make sense out of it wherever your data resides? How to make sense out of it by bringing it to the dashboard and visualize it and also add more insights to it. Please explore this. There are so many things you can do. This is just bare minimum. I even forgot all the capabilities, all the other functions that we can use with it. I've only shown you bare minimum. That itself is effective if you're running if this is for a like a customer report or something like that where you want to see sales data. For instance, I selected allergen data. You can add more data by going to data here. You can add more data and actually blend it and all that. So many things you can do. Yeah, we are not going to discuss all those things today, but this is for you to understand. Like I can do another table and I can join them without writing queries, like getting the visualization insights ready. This is also another feature that you can add to your hands-on application when we go to the build phase starting August 14, where you have to start building on your own. Think of how you can make it end to end, how what a full-fledged product you can build and how you can build on top of the idea that you already have. So this is another one that you can leverage. All right, so that's the end of lab 1 today, which is basics of how to use the data that you already have in BigQuery or in CSV or wherever it is, and bring it to Data Studio and build a blank report and insights. So that's what we have done. Then the next step is to just provide the view permissions for it. From here, you can do the view permissions. You can actually share it. So many things that you can do on top of this. Um, oh, you can also add more controls, filters, add a filter on top of that, enable viewer filter bar, and then you can add more filters. They can say select for a specific product, and then you can add drill down on top of it. So many things you can do. So do explore Data Studio for whenever you get a chance, or whenever you're building, or when you're doing this exercise as you're doing the the hands-on part at your own end. Even if you're not doing it right now, that's totally fine. You can also um, explore this data studio at your own time, yeah, to try out these features and learn how to, once your interactive filters are done, how to share the report. How will you present the report? Like, it's all done now, how will I access it from an endpoint? That's another thing you need to know. The view button to preview your report, and you should also be able to uh, view it, like share that and everything. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this one. So I'm going to give you like a few seconds right now before we get started with the second lab, for you to just sit back and go through what we have just done all this time. So what we did right now is we just took existing data, we walked through what we did in session one, and then we quickly jumped into Data Studio. We created a data set that I have already created in my BigQuery data set. If you don't have it, you can create a random record, or you can upload a CSV that you create for something else, and you use this one to visualize it, to add more insights, to do analytics on a reporting tool. So that's exactly what we did so far. Um, Once you get a chance, just select the view button to preview your report, and also make sure you're able to share that report as well once it's ready. So those are two other things that we would like for you to do. Yeah. So go grab water if you like. We are going to enter the second lab. I'm trying to find the second lab open here. It is also there in the YouTube video's description. It should say knowledge catalog. That's the second lab. Where is it? There we go. Knowledge catalog, quick start console. So that's what you should see. So I'm going to allow you like 30 seconds. Come back quickly. Don't drop off, because that's also another interesting topic we'd explore. Once again, I want to iterate that it's okay if your lab has restrictions over certain things. That's fine. Sometimes the labs are open, it says no cost, but it gets locked for certain permissions. That's totally fine. The goal is for you to understand how to do that. So, and try it out, because there is a no cost option for that. Try it out in your own, like your personal Gmail account without a billing account, also fine. Just create a project and start with Data Studio. You'll be able to understand the insights. You can also explore Looker. We don't have a dedicated session or lab for Looker that I've slotted in for this series, but you can also explore it as simple as this too. But with Looker, there's a difference. You will build the semantic layer. Whereas here, we don't build that layer. You directly plug in your data source. It's like plug and go. All right. Thank you, everyone, for waiting. Let's get started with the second session, sorry, second lab of session two, which is knowledge catalog. Again, like I said, I'm not going to click start here. The reason is it will use up the credit. Instead, I'm going to use another account where I can directly walk you through all these things without having to go. Even though I can click start lab, I have 44 credits because I access both the 35 and the 9. So it just takes one credit, which is fine. But you don't click start lab for this one right now. Do it at your own pace. Because if you do it and your lab time ends, then you will have to use up another credit if you want to retry. That's the reason. So what we'll do in this lab, first of all, before that, what is knowledge catalog? I've said that a lot. What is knowledge catalog? Knowledge catalog is an intelligent data fabric, which is basically bringing together your data sources centrally, allowing you to discover, manage, monitor, and govern all of your data sources across, whether it's within the same platform or outside the platform, data lakes, data warehouses, and data marts to power your analytics at scale. Basically, it is a single overview of all of your data mart, data lake, data warehouse, all of those things, so that you can catalog it and have it all managed and orchestrated in one place, organized, not orchestrated, organized in one place, so that you can have a governance on your data, a unified governance on your data. So specifically, we use it to build a data mesh architecture, which is um, an organized approach to decentralized data ownership among domain data owners. It's right there in the definition of the lab. So basically, what happens is if you bring in that data, you unify that, and you have a common catalog, you have a single way of looking at it. You don't have to duplicate the data to store anywhere. It just gives you that transient approach where all the data is accessible and able to govern in a single pane of glass view by bringing together all these data sources. So that's exactly what data knowledge catalog is, and it is not locking you only to Google Cloud data sources. It can be outside too. It can be external. I'm not saying any or every, but there are other data sources that are accessible, and you can make any and every data source accessible with a few tweaks as well. So it allows you to organize data from across all of these sources and bring them together for a unified metastore, a secure and unified metastore. So that's exactly what knowledge catalog is. So what you can do after that? Okay, fine. I have created the meta store. I have everything in one place. How do I access it later? That's the best part. You have a way to automatically push this knowledge graph or this unified intelligence directly to BigQuery. So you can use that to analyze, to do any sort of advanced agentic analytics, advanced insights, and all that you can do in BigQuery. So if you remember the Froyo dataset thing that we did in season 15, we did do knowledge catalog semantic inference, and then we it automatically pushes the schema to BigQuery, and we did build an agent, which is also one of the things that we'll do today. It'll be exciting to watch that. Yeah, ready? So what you'll do, you'll enable Cloud Dataplex API. Knowledge catalog was previously called as Dataplex, so that's why the API name has not changed. Create a lake. You will create a data lake, and then you will add a zone. You'll attach and detach assets. You'll delete zones and lakes. Yeah, so that's very simple thing that we'll do. All right, let's get started. I'm going to click Start Lab. You don't get click Start Lab right now. You can do that later. I said the reason already, because if you all try at one time, then the problem is that you will. I'm just closing the old lab. Yeah, open link in new tab. All right. So I have started the lab, so it's ready for me to get started with the steps. We already discussed what we're going to do. Let's jump to step one, which is enabling the API, right? Remember, enable the API. So go to Google Cloud Console, and in the search bar, type, oh, I have to agree to terms and service. All right, I'll close this side navigation and all that. In the search bar, I'll paste the API endpoint, and then you will see the first result in the marketplace. Click that. It's already enabled. API is enabled, which is great. All right. So that's fine. It's enabled. Now coming back here. Um, First task, create a lake. In knowledge catalog, a lake is the highest organizational domain. Remember how in BigQuery we said data set is the highest organizational domain? It's like a container where you create all the so project is the highest organizational domain, but inside the project you have data set, and inside the data set you have tables, views, you have models, you have other things that are available, right? You have procedures, stored procedures, whatever it is that you create, connections, and all that. Similarly, in knowledge catalog, the highest container, the highest domain is called as lake. So we are going to create that lake, which represents a specific data area or a business unit. For example, let's say if you're creating it for sales, you can call it as a sales lake or something like that. All right. So we go to navigation menu, select knowledge catalog. Under analytics, select knowledge catalog. So let's do that. Let's go here. I click this products. Is there knowledge catalog here? If not, it's fine. We can always no, We can always type it here, knowledge catalog, in the search bar. There we go. The first thing that says product, that's what we want. You click that, and here we go. Um, this is what knowledge catalog looks like, what you see in my screen. So you see on the left hand side, you see the navigation menu with all the options. You have the search, discover. You also have, yeah, you also have manage metadata section where you have connectors, cloud storage discovery, which allows you to directly discover objects from cloud storage, so on. And there's so many things. On the right hand side, you can directly filter objects that you already have. Right now, our goal is just to come to settle down in the Dataplex, or sorry, knowledge catalogs landing page. That's it. That's where we are. Moving on. Under manage lakes, click manage. So let's do that. Manage lakes. It's right there. Uh, one, two, third section, fourth section. First is discover, next is manage metadata, third is data catalog, and fourth is manage lakes. Click the manage button right here. There we go. There we go. And then there is a create lake button. Let's see what it says. Click create lake and enter the required information. So they are asking you to put the display name as sensors, ID leave the default value, and region choose US East 1. I hope you're all not trying it at the same time. You can try it later. Don't worry about it. Um, so sensors, US East 1 is what it asked me to do. And then what else was required? Click create. There we go. And then I click create. We are not choosing any meta store. That's fine. Just click create. It is creating right now. Right. So now that the lake it'll take a few seconds or a few minutes to complete. Once that is done, we'll go ahead and add a zone to the lake. So what are zones? We already discussed that lake is the highest possible domain. It is like the overarching container for knowledge catalog. Inside that lake, you will have zones. Zones are subdomains within a lake that you can use to categorize. Like let's say within sales, you have sales engineering, you have sales what to think out loud, what can we say, you'll have sales operations, you'll have sales something else like whatever. So different data like sales operations, we already discussed sales BI. So many different subdomains that you can have within the main domain. Similarly, for this particular one, sensor zone, we are going to create subdomain, which is called as lake in the catalog knowledge catalog world. We call that as a lake. So we use this lake to categorize data further. For example, you can categorize data by stage, usage, or restrictions. Depending on how your organization likes to look at subdomains, you can classify that. There are two types of zones. One is raw zone, which contain data in raw formats, like files and cloud storage buckets. The other one is a curated zone, which is where the data is cleaned and it is ready for analytics. It actually infers the data and makes it available for analytics, such as BigQuery tables. Both zones are possible. In this task, we are only going to create a raw zone for working with files in Google Cloud Storage bucket. We're going to put some files in cloud storage and we're going to add that into a zone under this lake which we just created. So let's see, our lake is created completely and it's active. Great. Now that the lake is created, let's go ahead and add zone. Click on the name of the lake. Here, I click it. And then it's asking me to add zone. I'll click add zone. Now for the parameters, I'll choose display name is given as temperature raw data because our lake is called sensors. Our zone is temperature raw data. Type is raw zone, regional data, and data location is regional, and discovery setting is enable metadata discovery. So let's do all that setup right now. Display name, temperature raw data. Type is raw zone. We are not creating a curated one. We will do regional, make sure it's the same region as your lake. All right. Discovery settings, enable, check that box and click create. We are making it discoverable because only then it will participate in the cataloging, right? You have to make the metadata discoverable for the lake that you're creating. So it'll take up to 2 minutes for the zone to be created. And then it has to say that the zone is active. Only then it'll be complete. Yeah. So it's going on right now. It'll take up to 2 minutes. Next is attaching an asset to a zone. So now that the lake is created, the zone will be created and active. You need to create a cloud storage bucket, put some file in it, right? So that you can access the data from cloud storage bucket or anything. The data set can be raw, which is files, or BigQuery data sets. You can use whichever one. You can add them as assets to zones within a knowledge catalog. So we'll go there, we'll add asset. What asset are we going to add here? We're going to use existing cloud storage bucket without even leaving knowledge catalog. I don't think we have an existing one because this is a new lab. We'll have to create a new bucket. Let's do that. But for that, first, let this get complete. Without even leaving knowledge catalog, you can actually create a bucket. So that's easy so that we don't have to open another instance separately. Just know your raw data can also be data assets. So if you're wondering, while it's loading, I also want to clarify one thing. Why are we doing this? Why will we need a raw knowledge asset or knowledge catalog for that matter? You will see for one PDF, it will not make that of a difference. But let's say you have massive data sets and you have multiple PDFs. That may be a project that you're working on. That may be a project that you'll work on as part of your build phase. So I'll upload all of these files and I want to make this data I can use it raw. I can also curate this, but I want to run a metadata curation job on these data, these files that I have, and want to transform that completely into a structured data set, which is like 400 PDFs. Build a knowledge graph on top of that, which means all the dark data that is hiding under multiple files, living in multiple references, all are and inferred semantically using an LLM job, which you can trigger. We will look at how to do it, but that's not one of the labs today. But you can do that, and you can push the data as tables into BigQuery, which means your raw PDF data is completely inferred and available and pipelined into BigQuery, even for future runs of that semantic inference job. So it's really critical for you to use knowledge catalog. Now, for your build phase, you may or may not use it. People who are using who are going to deal with the lot of raw PDFs or raw files or raw data as part, or you're building something extensively data heavy, this might be useful for you in your build phase. For those who are application first, like you have an idea that's fully application oriented and your data, you already have the data and everything ready to go in your database in a structured format or in whatever format that you need, semi-structured or unstructured format, that's also fine, but this is valuable in case you're taking this first route that I mentioned. Okay, so assets are still going on. I mean, status is, it says active. So let's see. So the zone is created, but the assets requiring action is still not, it's still spinning. So anyway, let's see what we need to do. Um, where are we? Okay. So once that is active, we should be able to see, click the name of your zone and add asset. Let's try that. I'll click the name of my zone right here and I'll click add asset. Assets. Add an asset. BigQuery asset, but I'm going to choose storage bucket. All right. What is the name of the bucket they want me to keep it? Measurements. So the name of the bucket is going to be measurements. Click. Oh no. Continue. Default values. Okay, let's see. Measurements, right? I'll click browse for the bucket and I'll say create new bucket. Um, they didn't tell me what the name of the bucket should be. I can name it whatever I want, but let's see. Click confirm. US East. Okay, the bucket name should be this Quick Labs GCP, so on and so forth. So I'll copy that. So I'll paste the name. Continue. Region C, choose US East 1. So I'm going to choose US single region. Sorry, single region. I'll choose US East 1. Great. Nothing else changes. Just click create. It's fine. Say confirm. Fine. Then we'll have to select that bucket and click continue once it's loaded. It has created that bucket. I'll select it. All right. For discovery settings, select inherit to inherit the discovery settings from the zone level. Remember the discovery we enable for metadata, it will inherit that to the zone level as well. So let's enable that checkbox. Um, where is the discovery settings though? Maybe not here. Um, okay, I've added all the bucket details. Select and then click continue. Let me click continue. Let's say done. Continue. I'll say inherit here in discovery settings. All right. And then review assets. We are in review assets right now. Just inherit and then click continue, click submit. Nothing else is needed. I'll just click submit. That's it. So now the assets are added to the zone, and the zone is already created inside the link. So it is still creating your assets right now. So the bucket basically nothing else. So we'll just allow it to complete. In the meantime, let's check out what the next one is. Next one is very simple, straightforward. Delete assets. This is how you create a zone. Sorry, create a lake and then add zone. And then the next step is deleting. That's you just select it and it's easy for you to just delete it after checking that. Deleting the asset, deleting the zone, and deleting the lake. That's the next few steps. We don't have to do that. That's pretty much it. This is a simple way to see how to create a knowledge catalog bucket. Now, I want to show you one more thing that is not part of this lab. All right. Um, let's click this search and open in a new tab. So we already saw that our lake's name is census. There we go. So you can come here and do a knowledge catalog search here for the object that you just created, the lake that you just created. And it'll give you the entire data set. If you see, it is already mapped to BigQuery. So once that is complete and everything, you should be able to see this data set in BigQuery directly. Remember how I told you that the temperature raw data that we create right here, or whatever you create from knowledge, you unify the data source, you curate it, or you do that management organization from knowledge catalog. It will be available in BigQuery. So that's exactly what is there. So let's see the name. Temperature raw data. So this is the display name of your zone, right? This is the display name of your zone, and the lake is called sensors. So if you go to BigQuery right now, you should be able to see the particular asset. You should be able to see the particular zone and everything. So let's go and check that out. I clicked it directly in a new tab, so we should be able to open that. So now let's let it load. BigQuery dataset. See, so I'll click that now directly. It went to BigQuery dataset. I actually want to go to BigQuery and test it out. This is our dataset, if you notice. See here, we didn't create it, right? This is a brand new instance. I don't have any data right now. I did not create anything in dataset, but I went in knowledge catalog. I uploaded an empty bucket and I've created the lake. I've created the zone. And if you see right here, it is automatically available here as a dataset. Now there is no table, but because our bucket is empty, the moment you put a file there or multiple files there, it will automatically infer that and create the tables. But if you check, how will you do that? How to do, it's not part of the lab, but I'm going to show you anyway. But I'll also give you tomorrow when I send out the email, when I send out the email for the live link, again, the on-demand live link of the, sorry, on-demand video link of today's live. I will also send you the Code Lab link to do a metadata curation of PDF files that allow you to transform your PDF data or any data that you have in the form of files into BigQuery tables without having to do anything more than the number of steps you saw today. You created the lake and everything, and then you go here, you look at this here. You can also choose metadata curation from the BigQuery this is knowledge catalog, sorry. From the BigQuery navigation menu right here, if you see this, there is metadata curation here. Where is it? There. You click that and you will be able to run a data scan job that will automatically fetch the PDFs that you drop inside the bucket. And it'll actually, I'll show you where semantic, this is the one. You provide a data scan job name, you choose the bucket, you also choose enable semantic inference. That's it. By enabling this, you are confirming that knowledge catalog can use or will use Gemini to analyze the documents that you have inside the GCS bucket, detect schemas, identify relationships, and it will form the entire tabular data. You can also check this, use Gemini in the global region, which means um, semantic inference uses Gemini in your selected. And instead of that, if you want to do it for a global region, you can check this. Otherwise, just keep it in the selected region and choose semantic inference. So it will take all the files that you have, it will perform semantic inference and will create the data with its relationship in BigQuery. So that's one thing that I wanted to add on top of what the lab already stated. So that is the end of lab 2. Like I told you already, see, I didn't finish the lab or check my progress. That's not important. What is important is for you to understand why you're using this, how to find this in your Google Cloud Console project, so that it will come in handy for your build phase. Completing this and showing the certification, that email that is certifying that you've completed, is not required for this phase. You will get a certificate anyway at the end of this Pachamama initiative. If you stay with us through the end of the program, through the end of the initiative, you will get a community collaborative certificate at the end of the season or the end of the initiative 2026 Pachamama. You will receive that anyway. So don't worry about that, because we know that for Code Vipassana is a different case. We want you to complete the lab because you are learning on a daily basis and there is no filters. Everyone is allowed to join. So the only way we could identify that is when you complete it. But here, that's not the case. You are the chosen set of folks who are engaged in it for a reason. So we trust your accountability. You don't have to prove that. The one thing you have to prove is when you're building it, have to you have to remember the things that are available for you to build on top of. So that's the reason I say it's okay if you're not able to go through and get the score 100 on 100. It is important, though, for you to understand why you need to use a specific thing. So it comes in handy for your build phase and also whenever you're using it in your product or your project or in your own business. That's the end of lab 2. And for the final touch, we have the final lab, which is chat with your data using BigQuery agents. So this is one thing that I promised that I'll walk you through. Sorry. So this lab's link is also there in the lab 3. In the YouTube video that you're on right now, go to description. You'll see the title "Chat with your data" as the third lab title. So go to that link and you will be able to open this. So don't worry, you are not going to do it hands-on right now because you don't have a Google. This requires billing account. So right now, I'm not asking you to activate or use your $300 free credits that you get when you sign up, right? Using your credit card or your UPI. So I'm not going to ask you to do that for learning phase. Just go through it. I'm going to share my screen and show you how you will do it. You learn it. You can leverage this learning and apply it in the build phase when you're actually using the credits to build, right? So at that time, you can leverage this. For now, just listen in and watch what is possible for you. Or you can also open BigQuery console, which is free. You can also see the agents. You just won't be able to create agents. That's all right. So let me share one more thing on my screen here. One second. Console. Okay, I signed out. Now I'll log in from another console and I'll show you my screen. All right. I hope you're all able to see my BigQuery screen right now. I just switched windows for a second so that you can see, since you don't have access to the um, to the BigQuery chat agent, BigQuery agent creation without a billing account. You will not be able to try this hands-on, but you will be able to open Google Cloud's BigQuery console and you will be able to see agents. But I just wanted to have this visibility from my screen. So yes, let's quickly walk through that. Okay, here we are. So this is that lab. If you open the third link in the video's description, it brings you here. So what this is, you will bring pieces of architecture, like pieces of all the data that we built, all the data. We probably didn't build the same use case throughout, but you know that we took public data set, we ingested data into BigQuery, we created data set, we created a table, we inserted records and all that, right? So we have, let's assume that you have brought in the data from all of your data sources, you've used knowledge catalog, you've brought in the data, and everything is living in BigQuery right now. But now you want to build an agent on top of that so that you can have your internal users access it and get that information. So how do you do that, right? So BigQuery has something called as conversational analytics, and so does the query data endpoint. It's also called as the conversational analytics API that Google Cloud offers, which is available for some of our databases or data sources. In this case, BigQuery also supports this conversational analytics. So what we are going to look at here is how to create, configure, and instruct BigQuery agents to automatically talk to your data sets that are there in BigQuery for data democratization, meaning give that link to anyone within your organization and they should be able to ask questions and understand the insights at their own pace. They should be able to plug and play with visualization through Data Studio links from the BigQuery agent itself and visualize insights rather than just reading the answer, right? So on and so forth. So many things you can do. So how to do that? Let's say the data is already there in our case, right? So there are some API enablement that you need to do, which is there in step 6 of the code lab. You need to give the data roles that are required. You need to have the Gemini data analytics data agent owner role in order to create this. You need to have the corresponding API enabled, which is the data analytics API with Gemini, which in turn enables data analytics API and the Gemini for Google Cloud API. Both will be enabled by default. And then in this case, remember the frozen yogurt data set that I said? I'm going to continue to talk about the same use case. So because I already have the data for that in my data set. If you see, I have the Froyo data already. So how are we going to create an agent from here? Very simple. Open BigQuery. Go to Google Cloud Console, console.cloud.google.com. In the search bar, type BigQuery. You'll land in this BigQuery console. That's it. That's pretty much it. Make sure you're able to see your data sets. um, so I'll click data sets here. I'll collapse this navigation menu. And as you can see, I'll squeeze this in as well. So as you can see, I have all these data sets, but I'm concerned about the Froyo data set. All right, I have it. Great. Now, what do I want? I want to create an agent on top of the data, right? So I'm going to click agents. You see agents as one of the options under my project. You will see it, but you won't be able to create an agent, or you may not see it if you don't have a billing account, right? So agents, and then you just click create agent. As simple as that. Create agent, and you should be able to select the agent, provide the agent name. So I can show that with my existing agent, which is a Froyo agent. I'll open this agent right here. So I created this agent totally based on the knowledge catalog data that from PDFs that I brought in into BigQuery by enabling semantic inference. So all that end to end. I'll also show you what the knowledge graph looks like. You'll be like, I was mind blown to look at the amount of detailing it has from sheer PDF files, nothing else. All right, so here is my agent editing configuration, agent configuration in edit mode. The agent name, Froyo agent description, it helps answering Froyo related questions on products, allergens, ingredient recipes, so on and so forth. Knowledge sources. What tables in this data set do you want to use? So I'm using about 7 or 8 tables or more than that. I'm using allergen table, contains allergen table, customer allergen data table, ingredient data, order items, orders, products supplied by supplier. I'm taking all of these tables from this data set. I'm saying all of these data sources are required for this agent to be able to answer effectively. So instructions, this is critical. Remember whether you're using your tomorrow in the next session, session 3, you will see what are the kind of questions or what are the kind of instructions you pass to your assistant, your vibe coding agent, or the agent skill. We call as what we call as skills. We'll talk about that in the application side of the series. We are still in the data side of the series, right? So I want to call them, I want to show you this instructions. So these instructions will guide your agent to understand and analyze and make decisions based on the grounding that you provide. This is basically prompt, but in an MD format, if you want to think of it that way. Right. So I'll provide the project name, I'll provide the description. I'll say for all Froyo customer order related information, use the Froyo underscore data one data set. Use all the tables and data that I've selected or the tables that you provide. And I'm giving some rules. I'm saying these are critical rules. For semantic and structured information extracted from PDFs, use the dataset named so and so. And for customer data, use another data set, which is customers' allergen data. So this is the kind of critical rules and instructions I provide here. That's it. These are the instructions that I provide. You have to provide as an agent designer. You're not even a developer. You're just providing a design instruction now. That's it. And then you can provide some samples, add trusted questions, examples, and all that. I haven't given any of those things. And then modern, allow both preview and generally available models, or you can only choose to use generally available models, which is GA, which is product like models that are available for everybody, publicly available, right? GA. So either that or public preview models also you can choose to use. That's pretty much it. And then you save, you have the preview mode on the right hand side. This is the agent ready to go. So I'll just say hi to this agent. It will tell me, or it'll ask questions. It'll tell me what exactly I can talk to it about, right? So this is a Froyo agent. So it'll tell me that I'm able to talk to it from the perspective of frozen yogurt products, orders, customers, allergens, ingredients, and suppliers. What would you like to explore today? You know what? I want to understand which ingredients contain gluten, right? So it's analyzing. It'll go through the context. In the meantime, while it analyzes the answer, I want to show you something. The share mode that is right here, publish. So once I publish, it'll be available in product in live, like anyone else who wants to use it can use it, right? So before we go there, it has already come back with the result. So look at this, look at the detail. I didn't give much, right? I only gave these tables and I gave this information for instructions. Look at the detail. It says I've retrieved the list of ingredients that contain gluten by querying our ingredient and allergen data sets. So if you see, it tells you which ingredient has this particular ingredient name, which is containing gluten, right? And it also gives you key insights. Most of the gluten containing ingredients are oats, wheat, and barley. Mm, some rolled oats do not have gluten. I mean, that's a medical. I don't want to talk for it, so don't take my word for it. But yeah, gluten allergic people will have to consult the doctor or anything for a specific product. But I'm just giving you the key insights that is taken from the data set that we have provided. Multiple IDs. It says that some ingredients are registered with multiple suppliers with different names. So I've pulled in all of those things. It's what it's saying. And it's this is the kind of information. Now, can you show me a bar chart for trending products or something like that? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Not thinking, I'm just typing. Yeah. Anyway, that's a different thing. Let's see if it is able to get that answer. But if you publish, it is available. I've already published this. So when you share, it gives you two options. One, it directly gives a link to this agent accessible from Data Studio. Remember the Data Studio report that we built? We just built the report. We didn't build an agent. But BigQuery agent is directly published to Data Studio, which you can leverage or give access to your executives or your internal or external folks also who need access to this project for this particular data set. So if I open this from Data Studio, I should be able to access this agent from Data Studio as well. So while it's loading, it also gave me the answer. It gave me the bar chart for the question that I asked. See, this is the kind of visualization I'm talking about. This is data democratization, right? You can give this link to anyone and they can devise the visualization that they want to see just by prompting, just by querying. But if they access it from Data Studio, they can do more than prompting and querying. They can actually build dashboards based on the agent that you've given them. See, it just asks you to confirm. This is from Data Studio. If you see, it has directly taken me to this agent because I have given access to this user. And now I can ask the same question, right? This question that I have here, create a bar chart for trending products. I can ask the same question from Data Studio and see how it answers. But the best part is you see how powerful BigQuery is able to um, make your data, how powerful it makes your data, and how powerful it makes you as a data engineer or an analyst or a scientist without, I mean, data whoever does this on a day-to-day basis, I doubt scientists will do build I mean, they're probably working on algorithms, they're probably working on the number crunching and the data aspect of things, but whoever is building this kind of analytics and analysis and engineering and the pipeline setup and everything for the data, you will find this really valuable because this gives you the authority and the power on the data that you already have, which stems, I'll show you in just 1 minute, where this data actually resides in the form of what? The source for this data resides in the form of PDF files, right? So I already told you that. So I want to show you those sample PDFs. So you see the difference in how far the inference has come. So do I have it pinned? Yeah, there you go. So I have this bucket pinned. So it's there on my landing dashboard page. So I'm in cloud storage bucket, Froyo suppliers. So let me open one of the PDF files. Now, this is what the PDF looks like. And this is supplier data. It has tables, it has multimodal objects like images. I'll show you that as well. So this is, you see how it lives in multiple buckets, how it, sorry, one bucket, but multiple folders and all that. And it lives in multiple files. It has images, tables, lists, list items, so on. So it's not your typical document recognition or typical chunking. You didn't do any of those things. You just use knowledge catalog. You did metadata curation of the PDF files. You did semantic inference. Oh, one thing I promise that I'll show you is what the knowledge graph looks like in BigQuery, right? Let's quickly look at that. But before that, see, Data Studio report also came back with something really appealing, right? It also came back with a bar chart for the question that we asked. So that is exactly my point right here. Now, before we lose time, let me also quickly show you one last thing, which is the um, knowledge graph part of it. So let's say I want to show you allergen data. Maybe it's a small table, so inference might not be much. Yeah, this is a simple table, so you don't see much. But if you go to a complex like some other table from this list, you will see the whole knowledge graph and how the data is connected and everything. Maybe we should go to the customer legend data, I think. But yeah, anyway, you get the point, like where it starts and what are the relationships and other things you can get directly from here. The lineage part shows the representation of the data overall. Yeah, so if I go to knowledge catalog right now, I will be able to show you the entire architecture for how the PDF has transformed the PDF data, sorry, how the metadata curation has transformed the PDF data sets that we have into BigQuery data sets, which is in a structured format. The whole graph representation of the knowledge is available in knowledge catalog. Yeah, you can try it at your own end. I do want to show that to you, but we are at time for today's session and we already covered all the topics that we set out to cover today. So I hope this was really helpful for all of you. And I really intend to see a lot of you use some of these features from BigQuery, use these features from the data sets that we have created and the public data sets that are available, or the data sets of your own if you come up with PDFs that you're actually working on. Yeah, so I'm really excited for the upcoming session. I think the next session is also sometime soon. We don't have any session rest of the week. Sorry if I'm incorrect about this. I'll go back and I will send you the update for the next session. Also follow our YouTube channel. You will see the live schedules in the live section of our channel as well. So that's available anyway there. If not, it's there in the, one second, let me tell you when the next session is. It's there in the landing page of Patchamomma anyway, Patchamomma 2026. So the next session is on August 3rd, which is Monday. which is amazing. So you have a good three of like 2 days this week and 2 days over the weekend for you to complete, not complete, but understand the labs that we went through and try it out at your own end as well. Do this entire knowledge cataloging, try to use public data sets, try to build dashboards, insights, insightful reports, and other things. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all on 3rd August, same time, 8:30 p.m. Yet another session. I think that one will also be really interesting. We are going to write code with anti-gravity. We are going to use Google AI Studio. We are going to use API keys, and we are going into the application side of things. You can do labs, you can complete it or not complete it. So it's not a problem. I want you to understand the concepts. I want you to empower your knowledge with the details that we are covering, so you actually use them in your build phase. However, what will test your understanding of these 5 sessions is the quiz, which will require a little bit of hands-on, but you will not know what you're going to need for that. So don't worry about it. That will be only after the 5 sessions are complete. Um, After our last session, which is on August 12th, is when you will actually receive the pop quiz questionnaire, and you will have to answer that. So that will completely test your knowledge on your understanding for these sessions. So that's what's important. So make sure where things are. Don't worry about completing the lab and getting 100 on 100. That's beyond the point right now. And focus on your idea, what you're going to build in your second phase, which is starting on 14th August. All right, see you all next session, August 3rd. And please look forward to the email that I'm going to be sending tomorrow, so that you will all be able to get the other code lab link that I was suggesting, talking about, and also the on demand video link for this live as well. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, ladies, and everyone else who has joined the live. Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Code Vipassana leads and the Googler leads who have been supporting and answering questions here. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Good night.